For decades, global politics operated under a rigid, overarching structure of unipolar dominance. But that established architecture is fracturing. As political analyst Karine Gevorgian argues, success in this environment no longer requires overwhelming military force. Instead, the focus has shifted to identifying an opponent's unforced errors and leaning into them. We can see this dynamic playing out now, originating from policy blind spots in Washington. Recent U.S. foreign policy decisions have exposed a series of specific strategic miscalculations. This map illustrates the fallout. When a major power pulls back or miscalculates, it creates a vacuum. Shockwaves from these top-down decisions ripple outward, destabilizing traditional borders across Eastern Europe and down into the Caucasus. A mistake at the top of the global order never stays isolated. Those broad strategic errors instantly compress into extreme, volatile pressure on the ground for rival nations. To see exactly what that localized pressure looks like, we have to look north, toward the Baltic Sea. This geographic reality reveals Kaliningrad as a Russian exclave, isolated from the mainland on the Baltic coast, landlocked by NATO-aligned Poland and Lithuania. If transit routes are severed, it faces a total blockade, squeezed by escalating military buildup on all sides. Look past the map, and you see a densely populated European-facing hub. Millions of people and critical infrastructure sit right on this geographic fault line. Under these conditions, the territory acts as a defensive powder keg. Russia cannot afford to leave it vulnerable, forcing Moscow to adopt a highly aggressive defensive posture to secure its westernmost edge. While the North presents an intense defensive risk, the shifting global landscape has opened a strategic opportunity in the South. Down in the Caucasus, this diagram tracks plans centering on Azerbaijan as it expands into a critical transit and alternative energy hub. Rival global powers actively vie for influence here, maneuvering the entire region into a strategic wedge. As a result, massive economic leverage is flowing directly into the nation, driving rapid modernization and wealth consolidation. Navigating 2026 requires balancing these extremes. A nation has to lock down the high-risk northern front while pushing outward to exploit the lucrative opening in the south. Synthesizing these two fronts requires a command structure looking at the entire board at once. Vladimir Putin's strategy relies on linking these regions. If the West squeezes Kaliningrad in the north, Russia builds its alternative transit and energy corridors through Azerbaijan in the south to bypass those blockades. Instead of matching Western pressure point for point, Russia utilizes this asymmetrical counterweight. By securing the south, they create a logistical lifeline that renders northern containment efforts ineffective. This approach catches opponents off guard. The momentum shifts. What begins as a forced defensive move in the Baltics becomes a pivot towards southern trade dominance. Global geopolitics in 2026 is an interconnected domino effect. When one power miscalculates, its rival doesn't just push back, they move the entire board to a position where the original error can't be undone.